Hi, this is Master Ingvar Jóhannesson from Iceland, and I'm bringing you more games from the AlphaZero against StockFish match. Now, most of the games will be wins by AlphaZero because, well, it's unreal and it smashed StockFish basically in the match. But in this game, some revenge for StockFish, and we're going to see one of the very few games that StockFish actually won. And this one is from the portion where they played a set opening from the TCEC, Top Chess Engine competition. They have certain positions that you play with white and black, and we'll just get into it and see what the position is. So StockFish had the white pieces, AlphaZero the black pieces, and we have the French defense e4 and e6. Now, from the games where the opening is not predetermined, like in this game, AlphaZero tends to prefer e5, and I think sometimes e5, but mostly e5. So it prefers the Berlin actually, but it plays it more dynamically and even plays it for a wins in some games. So okay, e4, e6, d4, d5, the French defense, knight c3, the main line, knight f6, the classical, and we have bishop to g5. Here black can take on e4, going for the Rubinstein or the Berlin variation, even the Fort Knox. You can go for bishop to b4, which is the McCutcheon, if I recall correctly, and in this game we see bishop to e7. e5 by white, classical French play, grabbing the center here. Knight after d7, so black is slightly cramped, but has a very solid position. But here we see the Alekhine Shot-hard attack. The fourth world champion, Alexander Alekhine, played this, well, at least 3 times, once in a tournament game, twice in a simul. A famous game, a very nice miniature he played in the tournament game. And it went exactly like the book here, bishop takes g5. I think modern players would prefer to play h6 here for black, which seems like the most solid option and is what scores best for black. But bishop takes g5 was what we saw in the game. H takes g5, queen takes, and now knight to h3. So white has sacrificed the pawn. He doesn't have an h pawn anymore. But for that we have the open h file and some leading development. We got this knight out with tempo on the queen. It can come to f4, from where it can jump to h5. You know, hit some squares. It can come to g5 as well. The bishop is ready to come out, and meanwhile black has, yeah, a little bit, he's lacking a bit in development on the queen side. So the queen goes back to e7, and this is where the book actually ends. So here is where the actual game starts, and they played a game each from this position. Some of these positions from the TCEC competition are a bit unbalanced, and this is actually one of them. And the computer is assessing this as close to +1 for white, and this game seems to support that theory. And I very much doubt that this line for black with bishop takes g5 will find many followers after this. So queen g4, this looks very forced. You're attacking the pawn on g7. g6 is the most common move. f5 can be played as well. Seems a bit weakening, and yeah, scores well for white. But g6 was played. Now knight to g5. Now we have exchanged the black squared bishops, so you know these holes might become a problem for black. Black plays h6. h5 looks like an option as well. Because, well, eventually it seems like you have to play it, but h6 was played here. And now StockFish castled here. Queenside castled. In the AlphaZero against StockFish game, AlphaZero went bishop to d3. It ended up after bishop d3 at some stage sacrificing a knight here and then taking with a bishop on g6. Got a very promising position, but StockFish defended very well and managed to draw that game despite the disadvantage. But in this one, perhaps StockFish played it better. It castled. And now, well, with this backwards development, we have to get something out. And black goes with the knight to c6. Yeah, the problem with a break like c5, you can't really do it just yet because we can play knight to b5, and this square is a huge problem for black. So black, tries to get some pieces out, knight to c6. But this is met with knight to b5, natural move, hitting the pawn here. And we don't want to, move the king to protect it. You don't want to retreat with the queen. A move like this might even open up opportunities of just taking here immediately, which seems very bad for black. So knight b6, opening up for the queen to protect here on c7. And now, we still don't have a novelty, but a strong move, which had been played before by Jimenez Pulido, a 23-30 player. Rook to d3. And a very logical move. This rook simply wants to swing over where it's needed, be it on the f file or be it on the h file, adding pressure here on the pawn. Of course, black can't take here on g5, either with the queen or with the pawn, because we have a pin here on the rook. So h5 was played here, and now rook to f3. Attack on f7 with the knight and the rook. So how do we deal with that? In the game, black played a6. So this does allow white to take on f7, but that's not what StockFish did. He played queen to g3. We take on f7. Queen takes f7. Knight takes f7. hg. And now we have a problem, because if we take on h8, there's king takes f7, and we're actually down a piece. So after a6, StockFish just prepared to take on f7 and played queen to g3. Now this, on the other hand, means that we're threatening to take on f7. So knight d8 was played. Let's see what happens if a takes b5. If black takes on b5, we now take on f7. And despite black having, both sides have a rook and a bishop. So black basically has two knights and a rook for the queen, which in some cases and usually is enough for the queen. But here the main problem is that the black king is just so exposed. The queen will quickly find a nice square on f6. We can use the rook on h1 in conjunction with g4, opening up lines, and this will not be a pleasant experience for black. So AlphaZero plays knight to d8, protecting f7. But this just shows how difficult the starting position of this line is, that black still hasn't solved the problem of its development, has very backward pieces. And even here, what do? You want to castle, but how do you untangle your pieces? You kind of have to play bishop d7 and knight back to c6, but the knight is stuck covering this pawn, so this just looks like a very bad position for black. AlphaZero, went with knight to d7. StockFish developed its last piece, bishop to d3. Knight f8, trying to bring some reinforcements to the king side where white is attacking. But StockFish just kept on adding the pressure. Rook to h4. This rook might swing over to f4, taking f7. Rook g8, perhaps preparing to meet that idea to protect the pawn. But now white has, developed all the pieces are active. He's attacking. Black has very many passive pieces, so it seems like this would be the moment to strike, and that's indeed what StockFish does. And it's very good in positions where you have concrete calculations or a concrete attack, and it will not fail in these positions. And a very nice and strong move here, bishop to c4. putting the bishop on 3. It can't be captured, but if you capture it, you're going to lose. AlphaZero played queen d7, but d takes c4 is met with d5, just giving up a piece and then crashing through with the pawns. And this is very nice. I mean, black is almost in zugzwang. I mean, what to do? A very funny line is, okay, I need to get developed bishop d7, but no, I would push the pawn, win your queen. Yeah, it's a very funny line. The queen is just trapped. What to do? Yeah, and if you take, he takes d5, knight takes d5. Big check, landing on f6 with the rook hanging, so nothing to be done there. So queen d7, and now another nice move. The bishop is under attack on c4, so why not put another piece under attack? So a strong pawn on d5, seemingly attacking 2 pieces, but to no avail. There's a big check coming in on f6. So even if you take, which AlphaZero did, we take with a knight. And how do we deal with this? Well, knight h7 looks like an idea. That's what AlphaZero did, but after rook takes h5, we have resignation. You know, other moves like king e7, don't do anything, queen c5 check. King has to go back and then the knight jumps in. So yeah, knight h7, but rook to h5, forced resignation. In the station, what to do? Not much. We have this pin here. You can't take, I will take here. And if you go back, we give the check. If you go to e7, well, I can do many things, including taking here. But there might be even something stronger. Even knight f6 immediately might be a strong move here, but I mean, just taking. I mean, you're not even down material, and the attack continues. Yeah, and just a big threat of taking here, and then giving a check on f6. So AlphaZero resigned, and I believe, I haven't checked all the games, but I think it's almost impossible that this isn't the shortest game in the match. Only 22 moves, stunning. And yeah, I guess in AlphaZero's defense, I think it shows that the starting position of this line is very much in favor of white, and StockFish took full advantage of that. So yeah, we had to fight back for StockFish, I guess. You know, show one of the few wins that it had. You know, some of you were asking for it, and well, you got it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.